New Thought Media Network. We are a global broadcast network of positive music, media, and entertainment, inspiring humanity's evolution along the journey of enlightenment and creating a world of love, peace, empowerment, and prosperity for all. New Thought Media Network. Positively inspiring.
New Thought Media Network is excited to present Divine Science Everywhere, Fridays at 2 p.m. Mountain Time and 4 p.m. Eastern. Come explore a modern experience of divine science. With Reverend Joy Fletcher, Reverend Jeff Radcliff, and Bishop Durrell Watkins. Join us as we open our eyes to divine science everywhere we look. Fridays on New Thought Media Network.
Welcome to Divine Science Everywhere. I am Reverend Joy Fletcher, and I'm so happy that you're with us today. I am honored to serve as the president of Divine Science Ministers Association and also a member of Divine Science Federation International and a board member of International New Thought Alliance. And just wanted to let you know that we're here for you every week, and we're grateful that you've joined us.
Hi, I'm Reverend Jeff. Reverend Joy and I are behind the mask today. But we're working on getting that taken care of. Bishop Durrell is not here, so it's just going to be the two of us for right now. You will find me on Facebook on my Giotti homepage, Giotti-Ministries. Is where I do most of my work, my online work. I also do some speaking here and there once in a while. And not only do I join Reverend Joy and Bishop Durrell hosting Divine Science Everywhere, but I also co-host Friday Fireside Chat with Reverend Michael Mangus. So you can look for, there we are. You can look for us every Friday here at 4 Eastern, 3 Central, and then me again later with Michael at 8 p.m. Eastern and 7 Central.
Thank you. And also, Reverend Jeff and I are end-of-life educators and death doulas. So we really believe in the sanctity of life, eternal life, as we join today. So as tradition, yes, were you going to say something?
I was just going to say we're moving into the Durrell's favorite part of the show.
Yes. And I'd like to acknowledge the spiritual pioneers of New Thought, which were primarily women. And we're going to talk a little bit about some of them during our centering moment. One of them happens to be Mary Baker Eddy, who received a healing after studying with Phineas Quimby. He was an inventor and a watchmaker, and he discovered or recognized the power of thought in his own healing. And Mary Baker Eddy had been an invalid, and she tried all sorts of manners of things to heal. And then she heard about Phineas Quimby and did receive healing after much spiritual work. And then she established Christian Science. And then along came Emma Curtis Hopkins, who was very well educated. And she also was the editor of the Christian Science Monitor. And after a bit of time, sometimes when it's time for us to grow, she and Mary Baker Eddy had a conflict of interests. So Mary Baker Eddy moved on to Chicago and started the Chicago Theological Seminary. And she was instrumental with training several people in New Thought: Myrtle Fillmore, Charles Fillmore. I believe Ernest Holmes was one of her last students. And then one of her students was a lady by the name of Mary Bingham, who was very ill and was diagnosed with a very serious illness. And she went to Chicago and studied with Emma Curtis Hopkins, and then came back to Colorado and enthusiastically started study groups and who we fondly call the Brooks sisters: Nona Brooks, Aletha Small Brooks, and Fanny Brooks James. And eventually they started their own work and discovered that Melinda Kramer, who was in San Francisco, was who had received divine revelation, were teaching these new ideas in very similar language. So they agreed to merge their teachings, and divine science was born. So in honor of Women's History Month, I think it's just perfect that we identify and acknowledge them and all of the spiritual seeds that they planted that we all benefit from. Myrtle Fillmore, who was Unity's co-founder, wrote in How to Let God Help You, all of us sooner or later come to that place in our development where we are no longer satisfied to go on living the old life without the knowledge of our oneness with God, the source of our being. Sometime when we reach this point in our soul's progress, we do not at first know just what's going on. We may become restless and dissatisfied. We may go through experiences which we do not understand. We may even be tempted to think that our good has gone from us. But just as surely as there is God, the one presence and the one power, we shall find that we are but going from one room to another. It's as if we were going into a larger, lighter room. And so it is. So right now, even acknowledging those powerful women in our centering moment. So we pause in gratitude during this season of Women's History Month, remembering the courageous women whose spiritual insight helped shape the New Thought movement and expand humanity's understanding of divine truth. These powerful pioneers listened deeply within. They trusted spiritual insight, and they spoke truths that helped awaken many generations to the understanding of divine presence, omnipresence, and the unity of life. So beginning with the words of Emma Curtis Hopkins, who was often called the teacher of teachers, wrote, "Faith is the perceiving power of the mind linked with the power to shape substance." She reminded us that spiritual realization is not distant or abstract. It is a living awareness shaping our experience here and now. Melinda Kramer, co-founder of Divine Science, wrote, "The light of truth shines in every soul." She taught that divine truth is not limited to a few spiritual leaders or mystics. It is present within every person, you and I and everyone, waiting to be recognized. Nona Brooks, another founder of divine science, expressed the simplicity and depth of spiritual realization when she said, God is present everywhere. And Myrtle Fillmore, co-founder of Unity, affirmed with courage and conviction, I am a child of God, and therefore I do not inherit sickness. These women and many others helped open the door to a spiritual movement rooted in the understanding that God, the divine, is not distant, but constantly present here and now, and it is everywhere. Divine science everywhere. In all, through all, as all. Their courage helped awaken and continues to help awaken countless seekers to the truth of divine presence with us all. So today, we pause in gratitude. Gratitude for their insight. Gratitude for their courage. Gratitude for their wisdom. Gratitude for the spiritual freedom their voices helped to create. So let us enter into the stillness now, together. Taking a deep, cleansing breath and exhaling, allowing our bodies to settle. Let our shoulders soften and let our minds be quiet. Feel the gentle rhythm of your breathing. With each breath, allow yourself to settle more deeply into the safety and security and stillness of the presence within. Think the words by Melinda Kramer. The light of truth shines in every soul. This light of truth is not distant. It is within you, in me, within everyone. It's not reserved for saints or teachers. It is available to you. That same divine presence that moved through the early pioneers of New Thought also is here right now for you. That same infinite intelligence that guided their insight continues to guide humanity today. Let us hold that vision. Let us hold that truth. A new thought we understand something beautiful and powerful. There is one life. There is one presence. There is one love. And that presence expresses through each of us. Feel that connection to the stream of spiritual awakening. We are connected to those who came before us, connected to those walking the path today, connected to those who are yet to recognize their own inner light. We are not separate. We are expressions of the one life, living within the whole of spirit. Let yourself experience the gratitude within your heart. Gratitude for the pioneers. Gratitude for their teachings. Gratitude for the spiritual inheritance we all share. Feel the quiet presence within your own heart. The same presence these teachers trusted. The same truth they proclaimed. The same light shining within you now. Let us rest in that awareness. Peace, presence, wholeness, love. Let us affirm silently together. The light of truth shines within me. I am one with divine life. I am one with peace. I am one with love. So at this time, as we gently return from this moment of stillness, let us consciously carry forward the legacy of these pioneers, not only by remembering their words, but by living the truth they discovered. A truth that continues to unfold through each of us. So we move forward with gratitude, courage, and love, knowing that the same divine presence that guided them guides us still and shall forevermore, in all, through all, as all. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you, Reverend Joy. We are going to take a quick break and then get back with our guest. And I'm looking forward to chatting with him. So stay with us. This is Divine Science Everywhere on New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to all of our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Center for Spiritual Living United Life, Sunshine Cathedral, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Universal Joy Center, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center Ottawa, Home Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. On behalf of New Thought Media Network, thank you, and please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, come be you.
What would Louise say? Join us every Tuesday at 10 a.m. Mountain Time. Hosted by Reverend Martine Bernard. Explore the wisdom of Louise Hay. Brought to you by New Thought Media Network. Dive into Louise's teachings. Experience healing and empowerment. Reverend Martine shares insights. Connect with a contemporary audience. Unlock your potential. Transform your life with love. Embrace positivity and healing. Join our vibrant community. Ready to join us? Let's spread love and wisdom together. Please like, share, and subscribe. Only on New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
New Thought Media Network is excited to present Divine Science Everywhere, Fridays at 2 p.m. Mountain Time and 4 p.m. Eastern. Come explore a modern experience of divine science. With Reverend Joy Fletcher, Reverend Jeff Radcliff, and Bishop Durrell Watkins. Join us as we open our eyes to divine science everywhere we look. Fridays on New Thought Media Network.
Welcome back to Divine Science Everywhere. Reverend Lily Rose wanted to come say hi to everybody before she has to get down. But she likes to bark whenever the neighbors go for a walk and they're outside the house. So I'm going to hold her for a little while and do my very best to work the mouse and scroll up on my bio for our guest. Our guest is the Reverend Michael Mangus. He has been the director. Lily, baby, I can't see through you, honey. Michael's been the. Do you want to get down? Okay, let's let you get down. Okay, got it. Yeah, I'm telling you, you can't live with them, and you can't leave them at the movies all day anymore. Reverend Michael Mangus has been the director of Summit Center for Spiritual Living in Cuyahoga Falls, Ohio, for over 18 years. So, been a licensed affirmative prayer practitioner since 1999, and has had the opportunity to speak at other spiritual centers in several states. And over the years, he studied a lot of different religions and philosophies and things of that nature, and he ended up getting a bachelor's degree in transpersonal psychology in 2003. Michael's background includes sales, broadcasting, and government service. And after 32 years, now I've got to plug my computer in. After 32 years in county government, Michael retired in 2016 to refire into full-time ministry. He graduated from Holmes Institute with a master's degree in consciousness studies and a certificate in ministerial studies in 2022. As an active wedding ministry, performing over 800 weddings for couples in the eastern Ohio and western Pennsylvania area over the past 19 years. He's also a certified premarital counselor. He was ordained by New Thought minister Bishop Carlton Pearson in 2013 and was licensed as a Center for Spiritual Living Ministers in 2022. He's also active here on New Thought Media Network with his Friday evening fireside chat, along with moi, and membership in the network's international prayer team. He also serves as show producer and engineers all kinds of different things for all of us, and is also a member of the network's media team that provides video streaming for New Thought organizations and spiritual events. He currently lives in Akron, Ohio, and he tells me he doesn't live in his concrete bunker, but I know he does. He and his lovely practitioner wife, Diana. So welcome, Reverend Michael.
Well, thank you. Thank you for having me on the program today. I didn't know that I would have to do double duty here. So,
Yes.
I'm guest hosting and producing.
Yes. How about that? Well,
Hey,
That's wonderful.
welcome to New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring. Okay.
Yes. Yes.
So, okay, you've done a lot of study and a lot of different things, but how did you end up finding New Thought?
Well, after being growing up in my teens, charismatic Catholic, in the charismatic renewal, I had a born again experience God in me, through me, as me, gave my life to the Lord. And then when I was getting into college, that the community, the Catholic charismatic community, and I had kind of a falling out because they wanted me to move in and to the residential community, and I told them no. So we had a parting of the ways, and parting of, again, a support system that I had for well over 5 years. They even took away my gentleman who I was meeting with, his name was Tim, took him away from me because I wasn't doing what they wanted me to do. Well, later on, they were declared a cult, and their community disbanded. However, I just, at that time, even something just was not right. So there was a void for many years. And so I started to read books on hypnosis. And then I started to attend the local Unity Church and started to read. And one of the books that I read was the book by Eric Butterworth, Discover the Power Within You. Mm-hmm. That was a very pivotal book for me because what it did, it really settled the question once and for all where God was located. Yes, God is out there, but God is also immanent within me. So, again, for many years, I didn't, was kind of in and out of New Thought. We had a study group, a Science of Mind study group here in town, kind of in and out of that. And then the shift hit the fan. In the mid-90s, I was living with a woman, and she decided, she says, I don't love you anymore. I'm moving up to Oregon. And so I remember coming back from there and then going to Boulder, Colorado, because I was checking out going to Naropa Institute. Now it's Naropa University. So while I was there, I was in my brokenness. I just felt just devastated. I really loved this woman, and I thought that we were going to be together at least for a while, and she was gone. And so I knew that I had done enough work through 12-step programs and through other things, got to a point where I said, I must be, what do I want to do with the rest of my life? And I remember going to a phone, and as I was going to the phone, the word ministry came to mind. And I said, God, not that. So once I went ahead and I surrendered to that idea, I met Diana. I started to go to a Science Mind Church up in Cleveland and became a licensed practitioner in 99, was denied admission into Holmes Institute at that time because I did not have a bachelor's degree. So that's the reason I went back to get the bachelor's degree in transpersonal studies or transpersonal psychology, was because they weren't going to let me in to Holmes Institute. So I didn't end up going to Holmes Institute, though, until 2016, until we were able, Reverend C.C. Coltrane, Reverend Dr. C.C. Coltrane, brought Holmes Institute to Ohio. So I was one of the group that graduated from that class. And we don't have that here anymore, but I was very grateful, at least for, that Holmes Institute came to me. So.
Very good.
Yes, I love it. I love it. And the reading that I was guided to read today from Myrtle Fillmore about a sooner or later we come to that place in our development where we are no longer satisfied. And sometimes that shows up with other people. Like you said, the shift hit the fan, that, that's a disappointment, a void, and then we're ready for the next assignment, the next chapter of our spiritual growth.
Yes.
I think, thank you. That's a good reminder. Yes, Jeff.
Yeah, how did Summit CSL come along?
That's that's a good story. I'll shorten it to the Reader's Digest version. So a group of us from Akron were going up to, it was called Universal Church of Religious Science up in Cleveland, about like 4 of us. And I had been in practitioner training, plus also there was 3 other individuals also in practitioner training at that time. And so the thought was, why are we spending 45 minutes on the road to go up to Cleveland when we could have something down here? So that's when we started Akron. And Akron was without a minister. So we were told by home office just to do the best you can. And it was okay for us to hold Sunday services until they told us that we couldn't hold Sunday services, which was, again, a little bit later on. But we were told to do whatever it took. And so back in 2000, our first service was on the first Sunday of February. And I was the speaker. So that's so we've had ebbs and flows in that. It's our group is currently meeting online on Sundays. So that's how we started. We were in brick and mortar locations for many years, and then like a lot of other churches and centers, when COVID hit, it went totally online. So,
well, 2000. That's pretty cool, because last year I was your guest speaker for your 25th anniversary, and I thought that was pretty cool. So thank you for that. And now you've done government work like we talked about in your bio. You've got radio experience, sales experience. How in the world did you ever end up meeting and getting pulled into New Thought Media Network by Rev Doc, who is Reverend Dr. Robert Brzezinski, we call him. So we call him Rev Doc.
Again, the shortened story. And it reminds me of somebody mentioned this at a minister's meeting yesterday, is one of my colleagues is the church administrator for a CSL out in California. and who had also been in ministerial school with me, and who is also eligible for ordination, I think this year. Anyhow, she said, I didn't think that ministry would take this form of me running this, running a community, doing all the business stuff rather than doing ministry, because there is a difference. But most of her time is spent administrating her center. And I think too, for me, that's the same thing. You know, I never thought that I'd be doing New Thought Media Network. I thought that after school that I would either start my own CSL, do something with Akron, Summit CSL, or candidate for a brick and mortar pulpit. And long story short, again, that, again, the shift hit the fan, COVID. I was working as a contract minister over in Pittsburgh. They let me go because of monetary reasons. And also there was also some politics going on. And I'm sitting again, I just remember sitting in the apartment in Carnegie, Pennsylvania, and going, okay, what do I do now? And so I called up. I knew Robert was starting New Thought Media Network because we had been in conversation before. So I went ahead and I called up Rev Doc and I said, I really don't want to start something new. I mean, I could go ahead and do something here in Akron, but I really didn't want to go start something new, because in our New Thought denomination, which it is, some people don't like to call it denomination, but it is, because it ordains ministers and also licenses practitioners. It's a process of 3 years before you're finally ordained. When you come out of school, you go in front of a licensing panel. And then what happens after that is that the clock starts running on ordination when you receive what's called a letter of call. So either as a staff minister or doing another what's called a focus ministry. So again, when I got let go from Pittsburgh, I said, oh, now what do I have to do? And then Rev Doc called me up and he said, we talked, and he says, don't worry about it. I'll sponsor you. I'll give you a letter of call. You know, that's, you come work for me. And that's what happened, is that since then, I've, over the years, again, I produce mostly shows during the week. It seems that my aptitude is towards the technical. I should write the book called The Technology as a Way to Enlightenment. But that seems to be where my gifts lie. And so right now, that's what I'm doing. And that, I always hold the door open in that, maybe something else. Like my friend yesterday on the call said that she didn't, think that she would be the administrator of a church. She said also that she's also candidating for another pulpit now. So I don't know. Again, I like doing what I'm doing. And so I think that it really serves not only Centers for Spiritual Living, but New Thought. Again, helping to get the message out here by the means of media and also the internet. So we have been given a wonderful gift here with the internet. This gives everyone an opportunity to get their message out there in a very cost-effective manner. So to be a part of a team that is getting a well-known secret out there and or exposing individuals to, again, this teaching. Now they're exposed through like the self-help gurus and other folks. I get that. And also Joel Osteen and a lot of the faith movement folks, they do the same thing. But I think New Thought explains it a lot better. Why about our own divinity, and also why creation happens and works. So it's really wonderful, again, to be a part of a team of individuals, again, that are dedicated to get this message out there.
Well, I was very happy to learn about this. I'm going to tell the story from the beginning real quick, but being in West Virginia 20 years ago, there was no New Thought anything at that time. And then I discovered the New Thought television that Mary Mannon Morrissey and her church was doing, and then got caught up in the scandal, and then it shut down. And I was like, well, where's all my teaching going to come from? Didn't realize, but there was Unity radio in the works. And so I listened to that for a while, got to know several, not only Unity ministers, but some CSL ministers. Our late colleague, Divine Science Minister, Cindy Lippert, I found her on Unity Radio as well. And then all of a sudden, here's New Thought Media Network. And I'd been in radio for several years and didn't think that I had the face for television. I've got the face for radio.
Same here.
but here was an idea, and Robert talked to me about this several times, and I really didn't do anything with starting a show of my own until I was talking to Reverend Joy, and she said, well, I've got this idea. And I said, I have had the same idea. And she said, well, let's team up. And that's how Divine Science Everywhere came about. And it gives us an opportunity. New Thought Media Network gives us an opportunity to watch other shows, learn things, get to know people and whatnot. But it also gives us a platform to advance our teaching. And so we're grateful that y'all are around. And then, you took me under your wing, as so to speak. And
yeah, sure, right.
Yeah, you're the straight man on the fireside chat, because I'm the one that's always cracking the jokes and making
right
and whatnot. But it gives us a chance to give something back to the world. Yeah,
and I still remember, and I think you were at that conference too, Reverend Jeff, when we were at up in
Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
At is it Christ Universal Temple?
Yeah.
Yes.
That I still remember we were in one of their chapel areas, and I still remember the minister that's up in front. Now, again, understand that we have cameras and computers and all kinds of equipment in front of her. And I think we had a banner up that said New Thought Media Network. And she goes up there and she says, well, I wish that, somebody would start getting the word out there about New Thought. And here we are. So
ask and ye shall receive.
The word is out there. And again, I think that people are coming to light about some of the teachings. And again, the reason I'm in New Thought is because that I find it to be probably the most sane take on spirituality out there. That's the flavor that I like. It doesn't mean that other people don't practice, can or not practice whatever that they want. They can. Tends to be two streams of thought within New Thought. One is it's kind of a New Thought universalism, or New Age universalism, which goes ahead and combines chakras, and there's nothing wrong with that. However, that again, there is another component in which, again, that Holmes, Nona Brooks, all the great teachers that concentrates new thought, again, from the tradition of Quimby, and having a Christian base. Now, some people, again, they find that to be offensive when myself or other people, we bring that up. It does not mean that people have to be traditionally Christian, but there is a Christian base to it. Again, the teachings of Jesus, not the teachings about Jesus. So whenever I mention scripture or whenever I mention the word or the name of Jesus, some people get a little upset in New Thought circles. However, what I've learned to do and what I've learned to do with people around me is that when individuals start getting upset about those things, is that what I tell them to do is to go within, turn within, and let me help guide working through the church hurt that went ahead and is still within them, that I think as a part of being on the spiritual path that needs to be healed. Part of my path was to forgive my Catholic upbringing, to forgive many of the New Thought ministers that I met along the way too. To forgive, to learn how to do that. And I think that's been a very rich part of my spiritual story, and that I call myself a New Thought Christian. And some people have gotten upset about that. I know in Pittsburgh, I told them that at a meeting, they got all upset at it. Well, you don't have to be okay, I'm going to say this to the camera. You don't have to be a Christian to practice New Thought. Okay? New Thought comes from all the teachings.
Right.
Okay? You can be a New Thought Hindu, a New Thought Buddhist. It doesn't matter. But especially Ernest Holmes, he didn't want to form an organization. Towards the end of his life, he said, I don't want this organization. The reason the teaching is going on, though, is because of the organization. So I think for me, my ministry is about getting that out to the world, not in a proselytizing manner that you must, but in a sharing manner where it's available when they're ready. People do not come to New Thought Media Network. They do not find us on the internet by accident. They find us because that they're searching for something. And so when someone new who's never heard of us before finds us, again, it's the time. When the student is ready, the teacher or the teachers will appear. So I think that's what we're facing now in the 21st century, is this whole definition of religion and spirituality. And I think that New Thought has a really good explanation and also a really good way of taking a look at the world. But again, by understanding that we are divine, whether we like it or not, and that we are also creative through our thought. And again, that thought can create either heaven or hell. So learn how to create heaven. And that there's also a missing portion to that part of again, change your thinking, change your life. There's a deep mysticism that's also in New Thought that I think a lot of individuals go ahead and bypass. They go ahead and they manifest the parking spaces, princes and palaces, as they say, but they don't really get into, again, the mysticism, where people have deep spiritual experiences of the divine as them. That is something that I think that needs to be emphasized. The reason that our churches and our centers are not crowded is because that we are not teaching that mysticism. We are not going out there like Emma Curtis Hopkins taught Ernest Holmes. That is not in our centers now. We're not teaching that so what it comes out to be is that, the whole idea of just mind science. But again, there's a very rich tradition of mystical experience, mysticism defined as going within, turning within to the God as you and finding that transcendent God within you. So,
and that's where the peace of mind comes from, is knowing that omnipresence is within you and around you. It's not about the physical things that you may be manifesting, but rather that relationship, that ongoing.
And it's interesting that you brought up the entire mysticism aspect of it, because Divine Science Federation sends out a daily study, and today's daily study was written by Dr. Marita Wiggins, who we had on the show a few months ago. But she started out her lesson by quoting Melinda E. Kramer, who said, "The discovery of ourselves as we are in God and the expression of that self is the object of daily living." And that's
absolutely
the definition of mysticism.
Perfect.
Absolutely.
Well, that's a great way to end today, unfortunately.
Well, let me give a shameless plug.
Okay.
So what's going to happen now is after we're done here is I'm going back into the 24-hour, 7-day-a-week newsroom to prepare for the rest of the Friday evening fireside chat with myself and that guy, that Reverend Jeff Radcliff, that guy, who has not sent me his graphics.
I did too. I emailed this to you.
When?
Right before you called me.
Okay. So
all right. Well, anyhow, so tonight, 8:00, Friday evening fireside chat, the news for people who don't like the news. We put a spiritual bent to it. That's tonight, 6 o'clock Mountain Time here on your New Thought Media Network. What now?
I said we try to put a spiritual bent.
We tried, yeah. So thank you, Reverend Joy and Reverend Jeff, for having me. Appreciate it.
That's wonderful, and I'm so glad that you joined us. And next week, our guest is Reverend Dr. Ron Fox. So until next week, please like and share. This is Divine Science Everywhere on New Thought Media Network.
Bye.
New Thought Media Network is excited to present Divine Science Everywhere, Fridays at 2 p.m. Mountain Time and 4 p.m. Eastern. Come explore a modern experience of divine science. With Reverend Joy Fletcher, Reverend Jeff Radcliff, and Bishop Durrell Watkins. Join us as we open our eyes to divine science everywhere we look. Fridays on New Thought Media Network.